Hello, and welcome to the Therapy by Craft YouTube channel. My name is Eunice, and this is my little corner of the interweb where I like to talk about yarny things. Mostly knitting, mostly socks. And today I have some September stats to share with you, as well as lots of finished socks. I think I have 6 pairs of finished socks to share with you, as well as a good handful of whips. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Ooh, actually, one more thing. I have a giveaway that I'm going to be doing at the end of this episode. So yes, if that's something that you're interested in, stay tuned towards the end. But anywho, let's go ahead and jump right into our September stats. So in September, I finished 8 total projects. One of them was a blanket that weighed in at 504 grams. It was my Ripple baby blanket, which I was super proud of. The rainbow ripple blanket, I think, the ripple rainbow blanket. I don't know, but that was really great. And I also made 7 pairs of socks, and in total, that ended up being 1,011 grams, which is pretty good, if I do say so myself. 4 of the 8 finished objects were for me, and 4 of them were gifted to other folks. So that feels kind of good too. Yeah. And that's it for September. Since the last time I spoke to you though, I do have like 6 finished socks like I had shared previously. So we'll go ahead and jump right into that. So this is the first one. It is my wide ribbed socks. The yarn is from Audrey of Dusty Yarn Co. And I think the pattern is called the Wide Ribbed Socks by Summer Lee. It comes in a bundle where like there's a bunch of different rib socks together, and this is the wide rib version. Side note, Summer reposted my Instagram post of these socks, and I cannot tell you how giddy and how high I was off of that. I was like, oh, I've made it. Like, this is the pinnacle of my sock knitting. I've arrived, you guys. Summer saw these socks and she had really nice things to say about it, and it just totally made my entire week. Anyway, I'll stop fangirling now. But anyhow, I started these on September 8th and I finished them on September 23rd. And these socks took about 70 grams total. Details on these socks, or details on all of the socks that I talk about, can be found on my Ravelry projects page. I am also Therapy by Craft on Ravelry. I'm Therapy by Craft on Instagram. So those are also places that you can find my work and the things that I do. I'm most active on Instagram. As a matter of fact, I am posting daily on Instagram for Socktober. I wasn't originally planning on doing that, but it was like the first week of October and I found myself wanting to post about my socks every day. So that's what's happening over there. Okay, back to these. So last month, or maybe it was the end of July, Audrey from Dusty Yarn Co. sent over to me 3 sock sets to test out a new base that she was going to be putting into her store. And she wanted to know the durability of it. It was a new to her base. It was a 90-10 blend instead of the typical like 75-25 or the 80-20. It's a 90 superwash merino, 10% nylon sock blend, 4-ply sock blend. And she wanted to see how durable it was. So she sent over some socks, or no, she sent over some yarn to me to make some socks out of them. And with the 3 sock sets, I wanted to know how many socks I could get from basically 300 grams. And it turns out that I was able to make 5 pairs of socks total, 2 of them was for US women's size 10, 2 of them was for US women's size 7, and then a toddler size 8. That's what I was able to do with 300 grams. And then I think I had 8 grams left over after making all of these socks. The US size, the women's US size 10 socks, the 2 that I had shared in previous episodes, I went and gave them to Audrey when I attended her pop-up last Sunday. It was so cute and she did such a great job. She was a total rock star and everybody was talking to her and she was, you know, just being herself and amazing. It was so much fun. So these samples went to the show, went to the pop-up for her, but then I brought back with me the 3 socks that I was planning to keep. This is one of them. This is, I used one of the 50 gram like main colors and then 4 minis, well, not minis, but like 4 of the scraps to sort of like coordinate into here. I think I did 12 rounds of 4x4 ribbing, and then I did 3 rounds for the little mini stripes, 12, 3, 12, 3. And so what that does is each section here is 15, and it makes it a little bit easier to count how many rounds I did down the sock. And I really enjoyed making these. I don't really like doing wide rib, if I'm being just really honest, but this one I think is because of the colors and like the feel of the yarn was really nice. So it didn't hurt my hands or anything to do ribbing for the entire sock. I'll show you the inside. This is what my inside looks like. I carried the main color all the way through, but I did cut the little mini stripe situations. I tried to like catch it and carry it up, but it was showing through. So I quickly changed my mind and decided not to do that. I'm trying to see if I can find where my floats are for the main color, but I can't seem to find it. Oh, I think you can see it a little bit, kind of how I carried it up. Right there. It's very not visible. I didn't do anything special. I think I tugged on it a little bit just to sort of shorten the leg of the V stitch right at the color change so that it looks a little bit more seamless, but I didn't like pick up the leg and knit together or, you know, slip stitch that first stitch or anything like that. The stripes are so thin that you can barely even like tell. Yeah, and because I most of the time did the color change right between a purl stitch and a knit stitch, you can't really tell at all. That's where color changes happen and there's barely a jog. You can barely tell. Is there anything else I want to say about these? Oh yeah, it took about 70 grams total to make these socks. And these are pair number, this is pair number 35 for the year. Ta-da! Okay, the last pair of socks that I made with the Dusty Yarn Co. yarn are these. These are my Scrappy Dusty socks. They are fraternal, and I basically just used leftovers from whatever I had left in the 3 sock sets that she gave to me to make these very funky, random, stripey, scrappy socks. I used a US 1 or 2.25 millimeter Chaogu red lace 32-inch needles. I do all of my socks on magic loop. All of the socks that are in fingering weight, I did 64 stitches. And for this, I did 20 rounds of 2x2 ribbing, and then I think I did 50 or 60 rounds for the leg, a shadow wrap heel, and then I think I did about like 70 or 80 rounds for the foot before decreasing for a rounded toe. I started these on September 24th and finished them on September 28th. They went by pretty quickly because it was just so fun. And I'm so glad that I was able to use some of the mini little scraps that I had. I just went around and around until I was done with that color for some of them. Obviously, like for the red, for example, there was like I stopped whenever I felt like stopping, and then I did the heel, and then I used up all the red until it was out. And I'll show you on the inside, like I didn't even, I stopped whenever it was that the yarn ran out. So you can see kind of in the way that I wove in my ends that sometimes it was right in the middle of a row. I didn't finish out some of the rows. I just wove it in, yeah, wherever it was that my stopping point was. If I knew that I had too big of a gap, like I was kind of over this blue, for example, and I wanted to break it up with a contrast color, I just carried the yarn through. So you can see here, like I had a lot of yellow and I wanted to break it up with the blue, so I just carried that yarn up. I made, the only rule that I had for myself, rule that I had for myself is that I didn't want any stripes to be less than 5 rounds. So I did some math and calculated that with 1 gram of yarn, I can knit about 5 rounds in a sock. So given my tension, the size of socks that I usually use, or the size of sock that I usually make, I'm able to get about 5 rounds per gram. So if I had, for example, if I had like 1.5 grams left of a particular yarn, I went ahead and just used it all the way through because I didn't want to do 5 rounds and then be left with like 0.5 grams of yarn, if that makes sense. And do like a single round or like 2 or 3 rounds only. I really wanted at least 5 rounds so that the stripe is significant in the yarn. I'm very happy with these socks. I think it weirdly looks cohesive even though it's very stripey. And yeah, this is pair number 36. And this was also the final pair of socks that I made with the sock set. So the socks that I ended up keeping were these 3. Ta-da! And then the other 2 went home with Audrey, and she sent me a picture of her and her partner wearing the socks, and it just felt really good. I don't know, it just felt really good to send the socks her way and to really test out the yarn, and I don't know, it was just really great. Oh, on that note, the soft sock yarn base is now available in Audrey's shop. If you are interested in getting some for yourself, these colors are amazing. Ooh, let me see if I can tell you what the colors are. So this blue is reservation only. It's part of her Palm Springs colorway. I'll actually use one of these. Yeah. This is Doherty, I think. Oh my gosh, that's the one color that I can't seem to remember. This is vintage, dry heat, reservation only. I believe this is like sunshine, Sunday something, sunlight, something, something. Say It is this red. And this here is called, oh no, this is vintage, this is mid-century. The brown is mid-century, and then this mustardy color is vintage. Yeah, so if you are interested in those colorways, you can go to her shop now and shop. What I was gonna show you is how the socks have worn and the durability of these socks. Samantha has worn these socks at least 2 or 3 times. This has gone through the wash twice already. I don't put my socks in the dryer, but I do put them in the washer. And look, it looks good, right? Not a lot of pilling. It's still super soft. I did not depill these at all. This is exactly what it looks like. So in case any of you guys are worried about the 90% superwash merino and curious how it holds up, how the base holds up, it's holding up great. Okay, moving right along. The next pair of socks that I finished was this pair. This is my Starry Night socks by Arcane Fiberworks. I did the vanilla socks on magic loop pattern by Kay of the Crazy Sock Lady. I did a heel flap and gusset this time instead of the shadow wrap heel. 20 rounds of 2x2 for the cuff, 50 rounds for the leg, and then I think I did 80 rounds for the gusset and foot before the toe decreases. I liked having like a straight vanilla sock with no like color variation or whatever. I think it was a good grab and go kind of project, especially after having done like a bunch of stripey, scrappy socks. It was nice to have one that was just like really mindless, where I didn't need too many things. I just needed the needles and a ball of yarn. And these ones I did one at a time. I think it was my car knitting, it was my lunch break knitting, it just was my grab and go pair of socks. I started these on August 31st and finished them on September 29th. And this took a total of 64 grams. Yeah, nothing much to say about these. Oh, I will say though that this is the first time that I worked with a 3-ply yarn. So Arcane Fiberworks fingering weight yarn is an 80-20 base, and it is a 3-ply, not a 2-ply. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. Last time I talked about how I don't really gravitate towards my 2-ply yarns because I feel like it's a little pilly. My preference is a 4-ply. But because Arcane Fiberworks has like such great variegated colors, I have a lot of Arcane Fiberworks yarn. And I was really surprised, like pleasantly surprised to find that their 3-ply is really great to work with. And it provides like a good squish that people usually really like with their 2-ply socks. But there's a little bit more durability, it feels like. It doesn't feel very splitty to me. The process of knitting with this 3-ply was really great. So yeah, I love these. This I think makes parent number 37. Yeah, 37. Okay. The next pair of socks, actually, I finished before all of this, all of the ones that I just shared with you, but it is my only pair of DK weight socks. I held You Vex Me, a self-striping colorway by Nomadic Yarns. I held that together with Heritage, Cascade, Heritage, Macademia. And this is what I got. Isn't it amazing? Isn't it great? This actually really flew off my needles. I started these on September 16th and I finished it on September 20th. Just over 3 days. And it was, oh my gosh, it was so fun to make. For my DK weight socks, I use a US 3. I don't know how many millimeters that is, but I use a US 3. And I cast on 48 stitches and I followed the vanilla sock, the DK vanilla socks on Magic Loop pattern by Kay of the Crazy Sock Lady. I think I did either 12 or 15 rounds of 2x2 ribbing for the cuff. And then I think I did maybe 20 or 30 rounds for the leg. And then maybe 50 rounds for the foot. Something like that. Something like that. And it was so amazing to see the colors come out. It kind of reminds me of like a kid who goes to color in a sock with crayon. I don't know why it's giving me like elementary school crayon vibes, but I freaking love it. And I wanted to share this first because the next pair of socks is because of these. Sam saw these and was like, oh, I want that. Mom, can you make one for me too? Like, Mama, please. I really love those colors. And so I did. I made You Vex Me socks for Sam as well. And I used Pearl Soho's fine print for the cuff, heels, and toes. I'll share more details about this in a little bit, but I have a couple of more things I want to say about this. In total, I used 97 grams, so almost 100 grams for this pair of socks. But I want to show you my continued experience with Cascade Heritage that I don't know if any of you have this experience too. There is so much pilling that happens with Cascade Heritage. I don't know if you're able to see that, but oh my goodness. I've worn these socks maybe 3 times. I didn't wash them. I kind of left it as is so that I can show you what it looks like. I don't know if you can see there's little baubles there. I know it's not the Nomadic Yarns yarn because this has happened to so many of my Cascade Heritage socks. Oh my goodness. And on the inside, you can see it even more. There's some felting going on. There's a lot of just fuzziness. Now, the yarn is so soft and it comes in so many great solid colors that it's very understandable. Oh, do you see this? It's just like came out of my sock. This little fuzz. Yeah. I can understand why it's a crowd favorite because again, it feels super, super squishy and soft to the touch. There is a 75-25 blend. So it is quite durable, but for whatever reason, maybe the staple length is like short or something. It just doesn't hold up very well. And again, I know that it's not the Nomadic yarns. It's not Ashley's yarn because this is Sam's. She's worn this a couple of times too. And look at nothing. It looks great. There's no pilling, nothing. But mine, there's all this pilling and it almost looks like it wants to felt. So I don't know what the deal is, but I just wanted to give you that info and I thought it would be informative for you to just sort of see what's happened to my socks, my poor socks. And if you guys have a different kind of experience with Cascade Heritage, I'd really love to hear about it. I think that I have heard from other podcasters that the Cascade Heritage prints seem to be fine. And I do have one skein like that. I've made like what I dubbed like the Saved by the Bell socks like earlier on this year. But I don't know. I gave that away as a gift, so I don't know how that's been holding up. But yo, these Cascade Heritage solid colorways, yeah, I'm like really struggling with them. And I have a lot of the Cascade Heritage colorway. I'm mostly putting them into my blankets though, so I think that'll be fine, but yeah. Right, so then after Sam saw those socks, she wanted some for herself. That's where these came in. I do for Sam 52 stitches. I did 12 rounds of 2x2 for the cuff. With these self-striping yarns, I found that I don't like doing exact row counts, and I just have been doing them by stripes. So for this one I did 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stripes before doing the heel. And then I think I did 9 stripes before the toe. It roughly ended up being about 30 rounds in the leg and about 45 rounds in the foot. I'm like rounding it. I think one of them has like 44 rounds. The other one has 43. But no one's gonna tell, like no one's gonna know that there's one less row in the foot on one sock than the other sock. They are gonna know, however, if the colors are broken up. So yeah, I think for my self-striping socks moving forward, I'm gonna try to be a little bit more strategic about that. As you can see, they are fraternal socks. Not only did I not have the stripes match up, but I did one of the socks in reverse order. So this is actually the order. So the stripe repeat, it goes the other way. And I think it's cute. It's really cute. I kind of want to do that for my other self-striping yarns too. I don't know, just really experimenting with the fraternal stuff. Yeah. Okay. And then my last, oh, this, by the way, it was 33 grams total for her socks. I started them September 21st and I finished it October 1st. Yeah. And then for my last pair of socks, I've got this. It's another self-striping. And this one is actually pretty identical. This yarn is, I think it's called Splash Sock by Simply Sock. I think it's called Simply Sock Yarn Co. It's a store, and I purchased their birthday sock club subscription. You get 9 balls of yarn total, 3 per month for 3 months, and a part of that included a self-striping. And I have a boss who really likes the color green, and her birthday is in October, and so I whipped up a pair of socks for her. I used the Vanilla Socks on Magic Loop recipe, or the Vanilla Socks on Magic Loop pattern by Kay of the Crazy Sock Lady. 20 rounds of 2x2. I think I did 50 rounds for the leg, heel flap and gusset, 80 rounds for the foot. Now, I cannot tell if I love or hate this yarn. Yeah, I can't tell. It feels very durable. It is more like a West Yorkshire Spinners yarn or an opal yarn, but for whatever reason, it doesn't feel quite as, I don't know, it's just a little off from those brands. But I still really liked knitting with it. It was fine working it up. I think the finished product is fine. It's not like soft, so I don't know that I would ever make like a hat out of it. I think, you know, there's some sock yarns that you can use for things other than socks, but I think for this, like, you kind of have to use them for socks, because for anything else it would feel a little scratchy. Yeah, I cannot tell. I cannot tell if I love it or if I hate it. I hate to be so black and white about it, because, you know, you don't have to either love or hate it, but with this, I'm not meh about it. I have strong feelings about it, but I don't know if it's a good or bad thing. Have you guys ever used this yarn before? I pulled it aside so that you can see. This is what it looks like. It's Splash Sock by Simply Sock Yarn Company. And this is another one that they had sent over to me, and I actually really like these colors, so I do plan to knit these up for myself. It is 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. And yeah, I can't really tell if I love it. If you look on Ravelry though, people don't seem to really like it on Ravelry. The comments are quite, I don't know, they're not very good. But I don't know. I don't want to bash it because I don't hate it. The other, so the birthday set, it comes with one of those and two of these, two of the quirky sock base. And this one is more of like a highly twisted, like marled yarn. You don't get two of the same colors. You get two different colors in this base. But I pulled this one out because it is really reminiscent to me of the Regia yarn. I've used a Regia colorway that's like this, and it feels very rustic, like this. But I also am curious if any of you have used it because, again, the Ravelry comments, like the reviews were not so good. I wish that I was actually keeping this yarn so I could wear it and give you guys some comments on how it wears and the durability of it, but unfortunately, or I don't know if it's unfortunate, but these are going to be a gift. So you'll have to wait until I make socks out of these and wear them to find out whether or not they wear nicely. I did put these socks on to sort of check the size and whatever because the recipient of these socks have the same shoe size as me. Oh crap, I just spilled my water everywhere. She has the same shoe size as me, so I did put them on to kind of see whether or not they would fit nicely, and they did, and they feel good on my feet, so I'm hoping that's a good sign. Before we go on to whips, I'm going to pause because I just spilled water everywhere, and I need to clean this up. Be right back. Anyway, whips. Let's talk about whips. I have about 4 whips to share with you. One of which I actually pulled out of hibernation. So let's talk about that first. Ooh, there's a hair. So this whip is being held in my A Needle Runs Through It bag. It's like a medium. This is a large bag or a medium bag? I don't know, but I love it. It's really great for like scrappy sock projects because it is so big and it holds a lot of stuff. And in it are my McMullin Fibre Co. Advent socks. I pulled it out of hibernation because now that my Dusty Yarn Co. project was done, I can work on these Advent socks again. And before new Advent comes, or new Advent boxes come for December, I really wanted to work on my last year's Advent socks. So this is what it's looking like so far. Isn't it pretty? Those that the stitch markers that you see there are Hello Lavender stitch markers. It's so pretty. And it's just kind of marking where the 10th round is for each of these colors. So I figured that I am able, what I want to do is split my 24 colors in the Advent to 3, like to groups of 3, so that there's 8 colors that I will use for each pair of socks. So I'll have 3 pairs of socks that include 8 colors in each of those socks. And I don't really have, I don't really know if all of them are going to be the same, or I don't know exactly how I want to do it, but I'm just kind of going with the flow at the moment. I have the main 100 skein wound up into a 20-gram ball to use for heels and toes. And that's all I know so far. I want to use those 8 colors in the sock itself with the main color as the heels and toes for all 3 socks. So that will be like the continuous thing in all 3. I grouped up the colors by color family, like kind of by color family. I wonder if I could show you. So that, I don't know, I thought that would be kind of cute. Here is, ooh, might be a little crinkly. This is the other 8 colors that I grouped together. So like the pinks and reds. It's really pretty, right? So this will be one pair of socks. And then in here are a lot of like blues and greens, mostly blues. And then the third pair will have mostly greens. Like greens and teals. There's a purple in here. Yeah. So this will be the third sock. So that's my plan. And when I get the advents for this year, I'm thinking maybe I'll do the same thing. Making 24 little socks feels really daunting. Even making 6 socks, because I was even thinking, oh, maybe I could do 6 pairs of socks and use 4 colors in each of them. I was like, oh, or maybe I do 4 pairs of socks with 6 colors in each of them. I was like, no, I don't want to do that either. But thankfully, 24 is divisible by many, many numbers. And I think 3 pairs of socks with 8 colors in each is like a good sweet spot for me. So if any of you guys have or are wanting ideas for Advent and what to do with your 24 mini skeins, that might be something worth thinking about. I got the Purple Circle Yarn Co's Advent as well, their Opal Advent. I have always wanted an Opal Advent, and this year I did go ahead and pull the trigger. She sent it over right away, so it's actually right here. It's in my shelf, that little white box. That's my Opal Advent, and it's just hanging out there until December comes around. What I'll probably do though is I'll probably open it up in November to get all of the skeins wound up. I don't really care to open things day by day. I think the using it every day is more exciting to me than like the opening up and seeing the colorway every day. So I did that last year too. I just opened up all of my advents on one day and like strung it up to just take a look at it and be inspired by it throughout the month of December. And that way I didn't feel rushed to have to use it and like keep up the entire month. So for this one, I know for sure that I want to make Scrappy socks in the month of December. So I'll probably open them up, wind them up, and I might also do the same thing where I use 8 colors to make 3 pairs of socks. And what's great is that even though they're 10-gram minis, that's still 80 grams per pair of socks. And as I'm like sharing these finished object stats with you, you'll notice that most of my socks only take up about 60 to 70 grams of yarn if it's fingering weight. Now DK weight, obviously it's a little bit more, but my fingering weight socks only take about 70 grams of yarn, so 80 will be plenty. Anyway, if that's something you would like to do with me in the month of December, I'm just putting that out there now. But okay, let's move on. There's so much to share. Yeah, so that's my McMullin Fibre Co. Advent sock that I pulled out of hibernation so that I can start working on those scrappy ones. Next that I've got going on is in this bag by Barley Pearl. It's my little kitty cat bag. I love it. So like I mentioned, I'm making, like these were birthday socks, right? And these are also going to be birthday socks. This is it's another like toddler sock using my baby Beluga yarn. The toes and the heels for this one is also out of fine print. It's the Pearl Soho's sock base that they came out with recently, and it's nice. It's nice to work with. I got it as a gift from a good friend, and I went ahead and got the second sock started. For this one, I did 10 rounds of 2x2 for the cuff, 30 rounds for the leg. I'm doing a shadow wrap heel, and then I'll be doing about 45 rounds for the foot. This is a self-striping yarn called the colorway is Baby Beluga from Desert Vista Desert Vista Dyeworks. And with this one, I'm not actually doing it by stripe. I'm doing it by round because the colors are so light. Like it's not, yeah, it's actually a sparkle base, but it's such a light colorway and the stripes are not very distinct. So I'm just doing it by rows. And then the next WIP, it's in this bag. It's a tie-dye bag that is made by a friend, Lisa Martin. She's a friend that I've made through Buku. I tested for her. I tested like a shawl for her. And then as a thank you for testing for her, she like made this. I think I had shared this bag in a previous episode and I was like, yeah, I don't know where she got this from. And then she messaged me and was like, yes, I made it. And I was like, what? She's so talented. Anyway, incidentally, she also cut my hair, but that's a side note. Anywho, this is the bag that Lisa, I think she ice dyed it. Is that what it's called? Like ice dyeing? I don't know. She used ice to dye this yarn and it is housing my like first real Halloween socks. It is called Creepin' It Real by Arcane Fibre, and look at how fun and Halloween-y this colorway is. I freaking love it. And I'm also gonna be reading a book as I'm making these socks. And once I show you the cover of that book, you guys will be floored because it's so good. It matches so well. And it'll be a part of my Falling Leaves sock knit along that is hosted by Denise of Earth Tones Girl. And the cuffs have been completed for both of these socks. I'm going back to knitting them 2 at a time in tandem. And look at what they look like. Oh, isn't it so good? Ooh, I love it. I think these are going to be so much fun and I cannot wait to wear them for Halloween. Ah, it's gonna be so fun. Anyway, so that's that. And then, so this will be my like on the go knitting. It'll be just in this one color. I'm not gonna have any contrasting colors or anything like that. I'll probably do a longer leg, maybe 70 rounds for the leg instead of the 50 that I've been doing. I will do a shadow wrap heel, that's the plan. Probably like 80 rounds for the foot before the toe. So that's the plan for this. And it'll be straight vanilla, so I'm excited to have that ready to go. And then my last WIP is being housed in my bag by Mountain State Stitches. It's my little quilty bag. And this is a half-finished object. So Amanda at Buku Yarns is going to be at the SoCal Fibre Festival this year again. And it's the second year that they're having this festival here in Pomona, California. And I am so thrilled. I'm very excited about it. It's happening at the end of November. And I had asked Amanda a couple months ago, like, hey, are you going to be doing the show again? She said, yes, I am. And I asked her, are you gonna have sock sets? Because now that I am an avid sock knitter, that's what I wanna know. Who's gonna have sock yarn at this festival? And originally she said, no, I don't think so. I think I'm just gonna have DK weight yarn because, you know, she had a plan for what she was gonna do. And I said, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. Like, you do what's gonna be the best for you, no problem. Then, fast forward a couple of weeks, I get a message from Amanda. She goes, you will never guess what happened. I'm like, what? Tell me. I'm like immediately intrigued, right? As it turns out, she received the yarn, the base, for, she received the order that she made for the yarn base that she was planning to dye up in preparation for the show. And she said that she opened it up and she realized that she had accidentally ordered a grip of 50-gram sock yarn instead of the DK base And she was like, well, I guess I'm dyeing up sock yarn now. She like accidentally just ordered a grip of sock yarn instead when she was supposed to order DK weight socks. Or DK weight yarn. So I don't remember if she said that she was going to have DK weight yarn at the show. In the end, I have a feeling she is going to still have DK weight yarn there. But in addition to that, she dyed up a bunch of these socks sets, or like these 50-gram skeins of sock yarn, and I cannot tell you how thankful I was to the universe, because I'm like, Amanda, this is a sign that it was meant to be. It's a sign that you were meant to sell sock yarn at the show, and with 50 grams, like, that's perfect. That's such a great, I don't know, I just love the 50-gram option for sock yarn. I just think that that's a great, yeah, it's a good number, because 50 grams, especially with like a 20-gram mini, is a really great number. It's a good quantity of yarn to make a pair of adult socks. So I offered to her, I said, hey, since the universe has blessed me with you accidentally ordering boxes of sock yarn, I will make a sample for you. If you are open to it, can I, have a couple of skeins, and I'll knit up a sample for you to display at the show and for you to just wear. And like, how does that sound? And she was like, yeah, I'll totally take you up on that offer. So that's what I did. This is a half finished object. And this is the first sock. Look at that. I am holding a semi-solid color. The colorway doesn't have a name, but it's like a black or charcoal color. It's more dark gray than a black. And I'm holding that together with this, like purpley lavender, but there's also teal in here and some speckles in here. And I'm holding that I'm working these two together and striping them in to get this. And I have now cast on the cuff for the second sock, and the second sock is going to have striping also, but the stripes will be 5 rounds wide instead of 2 rounds wide. So this one is a 2 round stripes, and then this one will be 5 rounds. And I think it's gonna be good. I like the fraternal sock thing that's still happening, but I think what I am enjoying is keeping some semblance of continuity for both socks so that it still feels like a pair. So for the second sock, I was going back and forth on whether or not to switch up the main color with a contrast color. So I was tempted to do so you see how here the cuff, the toe, and the heel are in this charcoal color. I was like, oh, maybe I can do the cuff, toe, and heel in the variegated colorway for the second sock. But I was already going to be switching it up and doing like 5 rounds per sock. 5 rounds per stripe. So I chose not to change it up too drastically. I'm going to still keep the continuous, like, this color for the cuff, toe, and heel, and the only change I'm going to make is the width of the stripe, and I think that will make it just fraternal enough that it is still cute, but it will be cohesive enough that you know that it's a pair, that it belongs together. So yeah, that's what's happening. And on that note, I actually decided to do a giveaway for this episode. I was gonna wait until I reached the 3,000 subscriber number, but honestly, y'all, I'm kind of over it. Like, I think I'm very close. I have like less than 30 subscribers left before I reach that number, but that number doesn't really mean that much to me. It's just a fun number. It's a fun, even number to reach, but I don't know, like, it's not that significant to me. It's just an opportunity for me to give back to you guys. And I don't really need to wait until I reach that number to do that. So I'm not. And Amanda kindly gifted some of these 50 grams of like some of these 50-gram hanks to the channel to give to you guys. And this is what I will be giving away. Isn't it pretty? This is the semi-solid. It's a tealy, it's almost like a cerulean. It's beautiful. And then this one is just like a bright, yeah, it's a bright lemony color, but it also has some of that teal speckled into it. So that together, I think it would make really fun. I don't know, I just think it would make really fun socks. And the truth is, you don't have to do them together. You don't have to stripe them in the way that I did with those other two. I think 50 grams, maybe you want to hold it with the mini that you already have in your stash to make a pair, and then you can do this separate with another mini skein. But this is what I'll be giving away. I'll be giving away both of these to a viewer. So if you are interested in receiving this, it is open to those who are in the US. I apologize for any viewers who are watching from outside of the US, but this is open to US viewers. If you want to comment, or if you want to enter, comment below with the hashtag BukuLove. That's BUKULOVE. So put that hashtag in the comments so that I know that you're interested in participating in the giveaway. I don't want to assume that anybody who comments wants to participate in the giveaway. So yeah, that's what I have for you. And that's actually it for today. Like you can see, it's just lots and lots of sock knitting over here at the Therapy by Craft headquarters, and I am not mad about it. It's been total comfort knitting for me going into the holidays. I have like mixed feelings about that. I know that it's fun and festive, but I also know that for some, like me, it can be a little bit tricky to navigate through. So I hope that, you know, wherever you are, you also have something that is comforting for you to help you, you know, just navigate through the ups and downs of life. For me, it's sock knitting, and I'm grateful for those of you guys who are here for the ride. So thank you for tuning in. Like I said, please comment down below if you are interested in receiving this beautiful yarn from Amanda, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Baby, you give me ice and fire. You're giving me wind and rain. You're some kind of butterfly.